Hi, and welcome to this first video of mine. This right here is my Pleasantview that I've been playing with for quite a bit of time. The town has developed, and in this video I would really like to introduce you to all the households that now populate my Pleasantview. I'll talk about them right now. Let's dive into it. First off, we have the Lothario household, even though it says Caliente here. So Don lives alone, just like the beginning, but he's now an elder. So we can say that this game of mine is 20 years in the future than the original Pleasantview. So Don lives here. You can see that he has a little truck, and the reason why there's the Caliente household name here is that Nina went to live here for the period where Don had been married briefly to Cassandra. So he didn't want to lose the condo because he had a feeling that he would have been kicked out pretty soon. And so he let Nina have it. Like, he told her, since she's his good friend and good lover, he told her that she could go live there and keep it for him. And Nina accepted because it's a good condo. It has a hot tub, and moreover, her sister Dina, which is no longer in the condo, was living in this condo with Mortimer, which she managed to marry. So Nina had to go somewhere, and kindly Don gave her his old condo. I must say, Nina Caliente has been helped quite a bit by her sister after she had married and inherited Mortimer's fortune, and also by Don when he was rich with Cassandra. As you can see, this is Nina now. She's an elder, and I should probably change this everyday wear for her, but I like the fact that it's a gym suit, but I'd like something more pink since she seems like the color pink. She lives here with their teenage son, Elias, and her kid, Hector. The father of Elias is Don Lothario, and surprise, the father of Hector is Daniel Pleasant. They were both accidents because I'm playing with Whiskey Woohoo without a mod though, and I've been playing with some percentages of accidental pregnancies. We also have a cat because Nina is has a decent interest in animals, and her name is Felina. So, talking about Dina, Nina's twin sister, she's living in this lavish Hispanic mansion. She obviously used Mortimer's fortune and money to buy it. It's right here behind the Goth mansion, and right in front of this majestic Mediterranean style mansion. So in this playthrough, Dina didn't want to acquire the Goth mansion. It's too dark for her. Instead, she wanted to use Mortimer's money to buy her own house. As you can see, she's an elder too, and she has one son, which is a teenager, and I was pleasantly surprised because she actually rolled the wand to have a baby with Mortimer pretty soon after she married him. I was super happy about it and super excited. I immediately locked it and made it happen. I made him try for baby until she got pregnant, and so Javier was born. Dina is also quite interested in animals. Now she has a Newfoundland which is called Olmo. It's a male. I chose the name Javier because it's a Spanish name and it ends with ER, which are the ending letters of pretty much the Goth males Mortimer, Alexander, and now it's Javier. But it's Spanish name because Nina and Dina have Hispanic origins other than Arabic and alien. Going to the Goth mansion, as you can see, it was inherited by Cassandra. Of course, Mortimer is long gone. I mean, he's been dead for many years. So this family is made by Cassandra, Ivy Kapoor, which is now a witch. Mortimer Goth had become a witch. He rolled the wand to do it, and he had himself turned into a witch by the evil witch that you can find in the community lots. And Ivy rolled the wand to be turned into a witch. So she came closer to Mortimer and the witch, and she eventually managed to do it. As you can see, Cassandra is pretty close to Ivy. They're married right now. They married just a little bit before Cassandra became an elder. They've had this platonic relationship for a long time, and now they decided just to get married. The fun story here is that Cassandra got married to Dawn at the beginning of the game. Dawn didn't leave the altar. He accepted to marry her, and she got pregnant. She wanted a baby. She got pregnant, and she gave birth to little Beatrice, which is now here, this teenager here. But of course, while she was married to Dawn, Dawn went around and did what he does best. And obviously, we saw Nina's child, Elias, which was conceived while he was married to Cassandra. And also, he got Ivy Kapoor, the townie, pregnant while he was married to Cassandra. And Ivy gave birth to this young man, which is now a teenager, and is called Dilip Kapoor. Dawn never acknowledged Dilip, whereas he did acknowledge Elias because he cares too much about Nina. He didn't care much about Ivy, and he didn't even acknowledge his existence. So Ivy gave birth to him and started to raise him all alone, and then thought, well, Dawn lives in a mansion. I should probably tell his wife what he did. So Ivy, actually, she was still pregnant. Rang the Goth Mansion's bell and told Cassandra everything. So Cassandra kicked Dawn out and started talking. At first she was a bit mad at Ivy too, but then she started talking to her, and with time she realized that poor Ivy had been deceived just like she had been. And she realized that maybe Ivy needed some help since she was living in a really small apartment, and instead Cassandra had this mansion. She had nobody to share it with, so she eventually, when they became friends, she proposed Ivy to finish off her pregnancy and raise her baby in her mansion. So Ivy accepted, moved in. And the two of them, Ivy and Cassandra, raised their children together, like the siblings that they are, which they are actually step-siblings because they have the same biological father. And now that their mothers are together, they also have not the same mother, but their mothers are together and their father is the same person. So that was kind of funny and interesting. I like it. As you can see, they have 4 cats. The first one they got is this one. It's called Gomez, and they rolled the wand to get him, so I let them have him. Then I was playing in another family, and they autonomously bought Killer. Then they wanted another cat, so I gave them Morticia right here. And then they rolled the wand to get a kitten, so I let Morticia and Gomez breed, and Wednesday was born. You notice a theme in these cat names? Next, this mansion here, which I built. I built it with the style of the other Goth mansion because this was destined to Alexander. Mortimer split his fortune between Dina and his son Javier and Alexander, and then the inheritance for Cassandra was the mansion and the remainder of the money that was still there. So this was the fortune where it went. So Alexander was more than capable to build this whole house for himself. It's quite big, but I tried to not to make it as big as the Goth mansion. In fact, the second floor is partially under the roof, so it doesn't look like a full second floor, even though it looks pretty massive. So Alexander is now an adult and living alone. He went to college and he had a boyfriend when he was a teen. It was the towny teenager Ricky Cormier. And now they lost touch. We will see what we do with him. Next, let's go to the Pleasant household. You remember this house, right? If you don't know it. There used to be Mary Sue Pleasant, Daniel Pleasant, and their two twin daughters, Lilith and Angela, which are pretty much identical but opposites at the same time. Now this house is for Mary Sue Pleasant, which is now an elder, and her new husband, which is Comey Tellerman. Yes, Mary Sue managed to kick Daniel Pleasant out because after many betrayals, she finally got rid of him. She has a positive memory of having this divorce. So she kept the house and she focused on her work. The twins were already pretty much going to college, and after some time she found an interest in Tony Comey. She met him at work because he's a politician too. She kept her job in the politics, and she's climbing the ladder. She wasn't fired, even though Comey is more far off in the career as she is. So he gives her a hand with the promotions and raises, and Mary Sue loves it. This little kid is their daughter. She's called Anae. I chose a Japanese name to honor Mary Sue's East Asian's origins. She may be Chinese or Japanese, I don't know, but Komei has got a Japanese name, so I thought he had Japanese origins too. So I mixed this thing together and I chose a Japanese name for their daughter. And they have a cat. This cat is actually Angela's. They adopted her. Her name is Heaven. Angela adopted Heaven when she was still living with her parents, when she was still a teen. And Mary Sue and Comey wouldn't really want to care for this cat, but they have to keep it because Angela cannot have an animal right now. I'll let you see why in a little bit. As you can see, Mary Sue is an elder, so her parents, adoptive parents, Coral Oldie and Herb Oldie, are dead. Herb died of old age, and Coral died when she was an elder by a lightning struck, and it was during a wedding. So that's it. So where's Daniel now? Is here in an apartment in the condo district, and I placed this apartment which is in theme with the houses. And here he is. In his lifetime, he's cheated on Mary Sue many times, but with very few ladies. Pretty much only with Kaylin, which was their maid, which this is now an elder, now married. She's way younger than him. and also with Nina Caliente because she's just irresistible. In fact, the little actor was born. As you can see, Daniel and Kaylin have a little girl. She's got red hair. I've got so many red-haired babies in this Pleasantview. I'm very excited because I like to bring on the less dominant genes, even though I have the equal genetics mod. So her name is Judith, and they're living all together right here. Another one that lives in an apartment, which is almost a flop house or just a little small room with a little tiny bathroom attached to it without a sink, is Pleasant. As you can see, there's a Pleasant household in here. This apartment complex I built, and I placed it on the outskirts of the city, right after the commercial area, and I placed it here because it's so cheap and it has to be in an area that's not much desirable. It's in front of the teen hangout and the disco, so there's noise. It's not very desirable. So let's see which Pleasant member lives here. It's Angela. Angela has got a little bit of an upside down life. She was the perfect child, the golden teen, the favorite twin of the parents. She was good at school. Then she went to college and it all turned upside down. Angela didn't do that great of a job, and she made some weird choices in her life. She started bubble blowing, and now she's kind of a hippie with long hair and a child. She's no longer with Dustin, and this child is the son of a dormie, which is called Daniel Dallas. So she's now living in one single room with no job, with a toddler, which she has no room for whatsoever. Recently, she had no wish to get a job, so I didn't have her have one. But she needed money, and she had the offer of a weird guy to join the criminal career. So since she needed the money, I accepted, and she's been working in the criminal career after a long time of not working. So she's accumulating a little bit of money to get her own house just for the little baby that she's got that she called Phoenix. And as you can see, in this apartment complex lives Lucy Burb too, just because she just finished college. Actually, she dropped out of college, so she didn't manage to finish it. And she's right here because the rent is cheap. It's fresh out of college, and she has to live here until she has the money to purchase a house or to get into a more decent apartment. So now for the last piece of the original Pleasant household. We're back next to the Pleasant home, and there's this little house here, which its name is Oldie because it was the old house of Coral and Herb, and now Lilith lives here with her boyfriend Dirk. So they're still together. Lilith basically inherited her grandparents' house because in the last period, before she became an adult, while she was still teen, she went to live with them, with Coral and Herb. She couldn't make it. She couldn't be with Mary Sue and Daniel anymore, even with the betrayals, the cheating of her father on her mother. It was just a mess. So she asked her grandparents if she could go with them, and Coral accepted her. She was a family sim, and she tried to rekindle the relationship between Mary Sue and Lilith, but it never really happened. Lilith helped out her grandparents with their old age, and so she's now with Dirk. They got married actually. I think it was their wedding where Coral died, unfortunately, so they're all the one to get married. And as you can see, Elizabeth is now chubby. She got fat. I think she's very beautiful like this. And she has braids in her hair. She does not have the same hair as her sister. She cut them and changed them pretty early on. So, the two of them wanted a baby. They tried 3 times for a baby, and Lilith did not get pregnant. I don't have mods regarding this, and so I assumed that one of the two was infertile, and so since they wanted a baby and they were infertile, they adopted this little kid, which the game named Chuck. Remember Angela's boyfriend when she was a teenager, Dustin Broke? He lives here, right next to Lilith and Dirk and the original Pleasant house. In this house you've never seen before because I built it. This is the Broke household. Dustin is no longer with Angela because he cheated on her, I guess, if I remember correctly, with Tasha Go. This is Teen Townie Tasha Go, and he just had a thing for her. He has always been friends with her, and when they got a little bit older, they just clicked. And Tasha went to college when he was there because he rolled the wand for her to join college. So I took it as they wanted to continue their relationship and they wanted to be together in college. So I played her in college. She graduated in literature. Actually, she's a family sim, but she's had the highest GPA of all the other sims. Knowledge, fortune, she's had it the higher, 3.2. Dustin graduated too in biology, and he cheated on Tasha with Angela too, because Angela has become a little bit wild, so she didn't care that she could home wreck this little family, and she went into Dustin's life again. Dustin has been a little bit of a bad husband because he cheated on poor Tasha, but now it seems to all have fallen in place with Angela's pregnancy with Dallas. She probably has moved on, and probably Dustin has eventually moved on from Angela. Let's hope. They now have a baby, which is called Ashley. What about the rest of Dustin's family? Brandy now lives in the Dreamer household. In fact, she's now married to Darren Dreamer. Darren is the father of Dirk, which is now with Lilith. We saw him a little bit ago. And Darren, which is now an elder, is married to Brandy. She really liked him a lot, but he was not so sure about Brandy. After quite a bit that she flirted with him and let him understand that she was very interested in him, he understood that he could never find love in Cassandra and saw that Brandy was not that bad, and he accepted it. Brandy had Dustin, Bo, which are in the beginning of the game teen and toddler, and then she gave birth to her unborn child, which in my game resulted to be a beautiful little girl. So here's Candace. Candace turned out to have blonde hair, just like Skip Broke, which is Brandy's deceased husband, that she got pregnant with right before his death. So she's pregnant at the beginning of the game, and she had no more children. She had no children with Darren. They got together a little bit far off into their adult age, and they got married when Darren was almost an elder. So here's all of the children for Brandy. They also have two dogs, Betsy and Snuggle. Betsy is a Jack Russell mix that they adopted, which is because Brandy and Darren have a medium interest in animals. I don't let my Sims who have no interest in animals adopt any animal. The second dog was actually Coral's dog, which she adopted when Herb passed away to have some love and company. She called her Snuggle. And when Coral passed away too, Snuggle was in the oldie household, of course, which was now Lilith's household. And when Lilith and Dirk moved in together into the oldie house, they didn't have an interest for animals, so they asked Darren and his family if they would take Snuggle, and so they gifted Snuggle to them. Lastly, here's the Burb family, which is in this house that I took from the Lots catalog right here, and they're next to the condo district and near the Dreamer household. And there's John here, John Burb, with his wife Jennifer Burb. They haven't had much drama in their life other than the fact that John didn't really want to get a job, but he made up for it by pursuing his cultivation and gardening interest. Jennifer, on the other hand, is an architect. She's been working hard and she's been giving John the many children that he's always wanted because he's a family sim. They're the parents of Lucy Burb, which now lives in that tiny room apartment. She just finished college or dropped out of college. And they also have Landon, Laura, and Leslie. Landon is a teen, Laura is a child, and Leslie is just a newborn. So that's it for my Pleasantview household, about 20 years in the future. And I'm showing you right now the cemetery where all the Sims will be buried. It has some areas for the various families, and these two fields right here are for dogs and cats, which are going to pass away. We already have one dog here, and I thought to plant a tree for every Sim that dies, so this can become a forest. The tombstone is right under the tree, and this structure right here is just all for the Goth family, the eldest family in the town, and they have basically a mausoleum, so their graves will all be urns. That's it. I have some more community lots that I added, like the H&M Pleasantview, which was in the lot catalog, the Café Petite, and the 3-in-1 bookstore, which were all in the catalog. The Rollover Teen Hangout I built myself, and the Platinum Disco is a renovation I made of one of the lot catalog community lots. Next episode we'll be actually playing. I'm in the midst of the 4th round, and I'm actually on this Dreamer household. I played one day of the 4th round, so we are on a Tuesday. It's autumn, it's fall at the moment, and it's going to be Brandy's birthday. She's going to become an elder. Thank you for watching. I'm really excited to show you my game even more. Bye!